Hey everyone, Metagross Freak here, and in my last video I talked about how to make a D&D Pathfinder campaign a little bit better in my opinion based on my couple years of experience, and so now I'd like to talk about how to be a good campaign player. Um, and again, this is all my opinion, of course, so if you don't agree, that's okay. And if you have more experience, it's something that I just haven't learned from my own experience, that's okay too. You know, it's a process. So these things are, in my experience, what makes the best, uh, what makes it the best for you if you're playing in a campaign. First off, bring your stuff. You know, in one of the campaigns I play, I have had one person lose their character sheet multiple times, and they've either had to make a new character or had to remake their character sheet on the spot based on what they remember, and that was time consuming. They actually did find their character sheet later on in the year, and so they were able to use that, but it took time out of the rest of us when we could have been doing something, when we could have been, been continuing the adventure. Um, and if you don't have dice, if you don't have all the special polygonal dice, that's okay too. Um, in fact, in my opinion, all you really need are a d20, a d6, and a d4. Everything else is just they're just accessory die. You know, you don't really need a 12-sided die. Those don't get used a lot. But if you have one, it's nice. That way you don't have to roll two d6s and figure out a way to make it, add it up or something. It you can lost my train of thought. Sorry. You can be more prepared if you bring, you bring your pencil, you bring an eraser, you remember your sheet, and you don't let it turn to crap. You keep it, keep it protected. Don't let it get all coffee and water and everything on it. Second is be open to be open to the DM or GM's campaign. Remember that they've spent hours on this, and that while they're going through the story, they're making and doing what they think you'll enjoy. You know, I literally have a mission. It's more like a level. It's like one of the first side quests my characters can get. I have a side quest where characters can literally go into a back alley, clean up some spilled beans, and go over to the tavern and smack the guy across the face because he got spilled beans in a back alley and it smells. It's a really stupid quest. It's a really stupid quest, but it kills time, and it's more of a, well, if people don't want to jump straight into combat, maybe they just want to kind of explore the town a little bit. That's a side quest that it kind of lets them explore the town a little bit, learn a little bit more about what the people in the town are like. Turns out half the people in the town are drunks. You know, that's just kind of like a side quest kind of thing that, even though it's not the best planned, it was made to cater to something that the players might want. And so if the players are doing this side quest and they go, "This is stupid. Why'd you even make this?" I'd be like, "Because I thought you'd like it." Then remember that a DM has spent a long time trying to make a storyline that they believe makes sense and they believe that you'll like. And so, don't insult your DM. Remember, they are God. Your DM is God, basically. Um, Number three is know your character. Your DM or your GM is very busy. Chances are, if they have their computer or a book, they're going back and forth between pages and tabs and stuff, and they don't have time for you to go, "Hey, how many times per day can I use Fireball?" If you're a sorcerer or a druid or someone who can use Fireball, you should know this. Get your phone out. You know, have a little folder, in your Safari or whatever, or Firefox or Chrome or whatever you use, just for Pathfinder or D&D stuff that's relevant to you. I have a page that's spell lists of spells my druid can learn. I have a list of, things I get when I level up. I have racial traits, everything that's relevant to my character. That way, if I need to know something that I don't have on my sheet, I can look it up and not have to basically distract from everything. And number four is be honest. While it is true, while you can probably get away with some things, if, you know, If you don't have an ability and you say you do, that dishonesty can sometimes change the way a game works. Um, and if it's a misunderstanding, that's okay. For example, I misunderstood that at level 1 druids don't have venom immunity. I thought they had venom immunity until level 9, in which it was replaced by something else. And that is a perfectly honest mistake, and I made up for it. I was supposed to be poisoned at one point in the story, and I realized after that point, oh wait, I was supposed to be poisoned. I got it wrong, and I admitted my mistake, and we fixed it. So then it was like, oh, the poison doesn't activate until later, and then I was poisoned, and we went to a doctor or whatever, and we got it fixed, and that's okay. That if you make mistakes but are willing to admit your mistakes, that's okay. But if you're doing something like, oh, no, I'm completely immune to poison and I'm doing this on purpose, that's not fair because, if you're fighting, say, an army of scorpions, an army of snakes, and everyone's able to get poisoned except for you, and, you're level 4 and you're not supposed to have venom immunity to level 9, that's not fair to not only the DM, but not fair to the other people if you have an ability that you shouldn't have yet. Um, and same thing goes with, I mean, with the feats and stuff. Is in one of the previous campaigns I had, I let people take an extra feat or two because I was giving them a large wad of cash at the beginning to get their gear so that they wouldn't have to do stuff. I basically was trying to make it easier for them, making them overpowered early on. And someone took a level 10 feat at level 1, and I didn't realize it was a level 10 feat. I thought it was one of those early level feats that all the other people in the campaign had, and they were dishonest and had a level 10 feat that they should not have, and it made them drastically overpowered compared to the rest of the party. And the rest of the party wasn't really having fun because they could literally just go boom, boom, boom and kill everything in one shot. And so, if you're in a party, be honest to your party. Um, and last piece of advice I would say is try to work as a team, even if your alignments don't always work out. I know that some people will, some parties will be all good, some parties will be all lawful, some parties will be all evil, and some parties may be all chaotic. But chances are you're going to have a mix. You're going to have, in the case of my party, you're going to have a lawful evil, a lawful good, a true neutral, and a chaotic neutral. And that's just how the story works. And but remember that you are still in a party together. For some reason, your little band of characters has agreed to go around the world, uh, fighting and exploring with each other, and so you can't be constantly fighting with each other. I have, two people in the campaign I'm in are bickering because they're like, oh well, I'm, I'm lawful evil and he's chaotic good, and we're like, okay, that's how your characters are supposed to go. That makes sense. But if you have a neutral good and a lawful good, they should get along. They have similar ideals, and even though they might not think the same way, they're more likely to work together. And so if you're bickering with people who are supposed to be your allies, you're not going to have as much fun. Um, in that party, I'm the true neutral character, though I lean more towards neutral good. And so our one lawful evil character doesn't get along with us very well, and that's okay. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. But you know, our lawful good character and I, for some reason, get into arguments, and it doesn't make sense because we should get along better than the relationship between the two of us and him. And so you have to remember to try to work with people who are in your party, especially ones who are in the same alignment, okay? So that's just some advice on how to be a good D&D Pathfinder player. I know I rambled a lot, and I'm sorry, but that's just my advice is come prepared, be honest, know your characters. Try. It's a role-playing game. role play. Don't just sit there and go, I attack, I block. You know, if you're a fighter, that's what you're doing, but add some flavor into it. So until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and happy hunting.